Today, our mission is to raise awareness of the plight of the orphan epidemic that is worldwide. And not just raise awareness of this issue, but raise awareness in such a way that we not only recognize this epidemic, but recognize the fact that the church is the answer to the epidemic. That we no longer be those ones that says, hey, just don't tell me about it, and therefore I'm not responsible for it. It's not going to happen at this church. You're going to be aware. This church said, we're not going to look at this crisis of orphan care, not only in our country, but around the world, and say, somebody will get it. But rather, we stood and said, God, we're going to get it. That's the only way that this gets addressed. And so we did that as a church. And what I'm asking you to do today as individuals is that you join in on that. Because it's one thing to be a part of a church that's doing it, right? And that's exciting. It's fun to be able to say to the neighbor up the road, hey man, you ought to hear what our church is doing. My heart as your pastors, I want you to have your own story. Own story of how God's using you and your family to engage within this crisis. Let me just give you a couple of numbers before we have our time of prayer. Globally, there's a total estimated number of orphans worldwide, 140 million. 140 million. I don't know that I can count to 140 million. Estimated number of children on the streets or in residential care, 2 to 8 million. Number of caring adults it takes to make a lifelong difference for one of these children, 1. Total number of churches in Oklahoma, 6,737. I want you to hang on to that number for a second. 6,737. Number of churches. Total number of kids that are waiting for adoption, 3,236. Did those two numbers click with you? They got my attention. And what I've prayed and what I'm asking the Lord to do this morning in my heart, as is in yours, that these numbers would turn into faces. These numbers would turn into names. We can talk about statistics all day long, and they just get boring and dry. But the two numbers that caught my heart, caught my attention, I could not look past. Churches in Oklahoma, 6,737. Children waiting to be adopted in Oklahoma, 3,236. Please don't tell me we can't make a difference.